Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. I don't know about you lot, but I am still suffering from what we saw on Tuesday night. Chelsea's loss to Arsenal and nothing has really changed. Normally, it is as soon as the match is done, I'm like, sack the flipping manager if I get to that point. The second day, I like to gauge it and see how I feel. Was I reactionary? Did I over-exaggerate? And is what I've actually said in the post-match reaction how I truly feel? Yes, it is. We're now 2 days on. Yesterday's video, I was talking about Thomas Tuchel and why I think it is a no-brainer, potentially, for Chelsea. But we've got some interesting updates here that come from Matt Law. And I want to talk to you guys about them here today. The news is Chelsea could consider appointing Ruben Amorim if Mauricio Pochettino leaves this summer. To be quite honest, the more you listen to people talking about Chelsea in the global footballing media, be it YouTube, be it television, it's seemingly more and more untenable for Mauricio Pochettino at Chelsea. It looks to me as though that 5-0 defeat for Arsenal, which to be fair, it's inexcusable for Chelsea to lose like that, whether you're under pressure already or not. If a manager that is widely loved by the Chelsea fan base, if you get battered at the Emirates, you've got to do something drastic. We saw it with Antonio Conte. He didn't have the best start to life at Chelsea. Went to Arsenal. We got absolutely annihilated. Mesut Ozil, first half at the Emirates. And from that point, there were drastic changes that happened that saw Chelsea's season completely rejuvenated, revitalised, and we won the Premier League. Now, Ruben Amorim is a name that has been going around a lot. He reportedly flew from Portugal to West Ham, flew into London this week already to have a meeting with West Ham United. The rumours are since then, it's probably not going to progress any further. Now, if you don't know too much about Ruben Amorim, he's Portuguese. He was born in 1985. So we're talking here about a very young manager indeed. He's only 9 years older than me. He only finished playing top-level football in Portugal, I think, less than 5 years ago. So he is one of those kind of managers who went straight from being a player and straight into management. I think he was at Benfica for about 10 years, so playing good-level football in Portugal. And he is very well known for playing in a 3-4-3 formation, which today, I'm going to show you guys 3 players that Ruben Amorim currently manages at Sporting Lisbon that I've identified as potentially great signings for Chelsea. You already know one of them really well, and there are 2 others that I've looked into that I really think Chelsea could go into if we're going to get Ruben Amorim as a manager. Even if we don't, these 3 players that I have selected from Sporting Lisbon right now could potentially be good players. I can already see 2 potential arguments here that a lot of people may have. Benson, don't look at someone's stats in the Portuguese league and think it's going to translate to the Premier League. Correct. But these guys, I think, are decent footballers. And the second thing is a 3-4-3 formation. A lot of people were very happy to see the back of the 3 at the back formation. And a lot of people kind of see it as a formation that in the Premier League has kind of been figured out. The reason that Antonio Conte's stint at Chelsea didn't go as successfully, as it looked as though it could have been one of those that if he didn't fall out with people and maybe the football wasn't so dire, maybe Conte could have stayed for longer at Chelsea. We won the league. We had Victor Moses and Marcus Alonso, who probably won't go down as the greatest ever fullbacks/wingbacks to win the Premier League in a season, but they were so effective because what he managed to do with that 3 at the back formation is squeeze, like a sponge, all of the potential ability, technically, that those players that weren't necessarily the best Chelsea players to ever win the league had. And I think at the moment with Pochettino, if I'm relating him here to Antonio Conte, who went to the Emirates and then immediately bounced back, unless we see like a 6-0 win against Aston Villa, I think Chelsea will lose at the weekend. I do. I think Villa obviously got so much to play for right now. And from what we saw against Arsenal, it looks as though for whatever reason, the Chelsea players don't have anything to play for, which is absolute nonsense. But it's up to the manager to actually motivate those guys to go out there and give everything. So, let me know your thoughts straight off the gate before we even talk about the 3 potential players that Chelsea could look at from Sporting Lisbon if Ruben Amorim is a genuine option this summer. And I'll give my thoughts about Ruben Amorim and whether or not I actually think this could work once I've built a team in his style, a 3-4-3, including 2 potential players from Sporting Lisbon in the starting 11. So, those 3 players, potentially, that Chelsea could buy from Sporting Lisbon this summer is Diomande, the Ivory Coast Ivorian centre-back, who is a really good young centre-back. Pedro Goncalves, who's an attacking midfielder that can also play on the right of the midfield or also on the left, but can also be used as kind of like an inverted forward. This season in Portugal, his stats are incredible. Double figures already for goals and assists in the league. He's only 25 years old, but I say only 25. This is kind of like me anticipating that the Chelsea owners may want to adjust slightly this whole like we only buy youngsters and we're buying a team for the future thing. I don't think they're just going to go out and buy a load of 30-plus-year-olds. I don't think it even needs to be that extreme. But there does need to be experience that is brought into this Chelsea side. And then the other player, you already know it because I've spoke about him this week on the channel, Victor Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon, who is the top scorer right now in Sporting Lisbon. And I want to talk to you guys now a little bit about how Chelsea could line up and what we could expect from a Ruben Amorim team. There's actually some really, really good videos right now that I've seen on YouTube already. James Alcott made a great video talking about Amorim and how he could line them up at Liverpool, but obviously since then we know that he's not going to Liverpool. And there's also a video that I watched from Football Meta. And if you guys want to find out in a lot more depth how Ruben Amorim actually likes to get his teams to play, then please check out those videos. I will link them both in the description. But for now, let's take a little look at this Chelsea team. Obviously, the more we watch Chelsea right now, the more it feels as though we need a complete squad overhaul. The reality of the situation is we're in so deep in terms of the mud and the shit right now because we know that so many players are average. We know that so many players are almost unsellable because they've played so bad. And they're also on such long contracts that it's maybe going to be impossible to get rid of so many of them. What I have done here is I have created a back 3. Petrovic is the goalkeeper, but the back 3 includes Reece James as a right centre-back, Diomande, the guy that I think would be a good signing from Sporting Lisbon, and Levi Colwill as a back 3. We have got no Chalobah in there, no Silva, who's obviously leaving. Disasi and Badiashile are missing out from this Chelsea team here. The reason that I've gone with Reece James as the right centre-back is because in Ruben Amorim teams, there is quite often a centre-back who moves into a midfield. What Ruben Amorim likes to do is create multiple vertical lines to allow his team to not only press high and press hard, but he also likes to make those line-breaking passes. What do we know about players like Moises Caicedo? He also loves to be a player who gets the ball, turns, makes a vertical pass. So Reece James can step into that midfield with Moises Caicedo, who you'll see in a moment, and then there can be a player, could it be Gallagher? Could it be Pedro Goncalves playing a bit deeper? Or could it be Enzo progressing up to meet the forwards? Now, if we take a little look at that back 3 here, Levi Colwill, I think, is a fantastic ball-playing centre-half who will grow. He just needs to be having consistent players around him and also not breaking any bones or getting injured, which is obviously, when you look at this team here, Reece James is also incredibly injury-prone and Diomande is a young centre-back. But I think when you look there at that back 3, Diomande can also be very comfortable playing in a right centre-back position too. And what we see very often with a Ruben Amorim team is flexibility within those formations. And I think what you've got is 3 players there that are more than happy to play out from the back. They've got speed and they have got power also on their side. We move. Malo Gusto is the right midfielder. Let me just get this graphic up here for myself. Gusto is on the right. Caicedo and Enzo I've got in the middle, and I've put Ben Chilwell on the left. I think at the moment, Cucurella is obviously ahead of Chilwell, but Cucurella I didn't think was great against Arsenal. He probably was one of the better players, let's be honest, but I do think Ben Chilwell will come good eventually, if he could stay fit once more. So with that, obviously, Caicedo and Enzo, we've seen Enzo progress up the field a lot more this season. I think Caicedo is starting to look a lot more comfortable receiving the ball in those tight pockets. And what we like to see in a Ruben Amorim side, as we've said already, is vertical pressing, vertical passing. And building up from the back, you need players like Caicedo to be able to receive it. And I think when you've got players like Gusto and Chilwell flanking those two midfielders, be it Enzo, Caicedo, Gallagher, whoever it might be, obviously, I'm not going crazy here and trying to buy loads of players in this video. I just want to keep it top line with a couple of additions. When you got Gusto and Chilwell, who are more than competent going forward, another facet of a Ruben Amorim team is overloading the channels. Now, what you've got there, obviously, is Enzo able to get forward. And then as you look at the front three, I've gone with Cole Palmer inside on the right, Christopher Nkunku inside on the left with Victor Gyökeres as that target man up top. What you've got here is a lot of players that like to receive the ball in those channels. Nkunku loves to drop into that left channel. Cole Palmer also works so well on that right channel, and we've seen so often this season Malo Gusto getting forward on that right-hand side. You've got Reece James, who is also more than competent when it comes to potential overlaps to be able to overload that right side too. Imagine a right side at Chelsea, which is a fit Reece James, Malo Gusto, and Cole Palmer feeding in a 6'2" striker who actually knows how to put the ball in the back of the bloody net. Now, I don't know about you lot. This has been like, I've not really gone deep into Ruben Amorim too much because as of right now, we've only actually got one story from Matt Law. He's obviously been in London already this week talking to West Ham. He's not going to be the Liverpool manager. Liverpool seem to be moving towards Arne Slot. And when I think and I look at the way that Sporting Lisbon play, they score so many goals, guys. And defensively, they're just so solid. Ruben Amorim is also known for integrating youth players into the team, which of course is something that we tentatively thought and bought into with Pochettino, but it wasn't quite the case. As of right now, he's not getting much out of anyone but Cole Palmer. So I think this is actually a really exciting Chelsea team. Obviously, it's so dependent on some players just not getting injured. Reece James is a phenomenal footballer, but he's always injured. Hopefully, Christopher Nkunku can stay fit. You've also got Lavia, who's very good at receiving balls in tight spaces. You can also play vertical passes. There is a lot of adaptability that we could see, even with the current Chelsea squad. And I mentioned Pedro Goncalves as an option. His market value right now is only 30 million euros. It could be a bargain. But to see Chelsea go, it's almost like a Brighton thing, isn't it? Where, you get Graham Potter, you get Cucurella, Caicedo. It's not that Potter didn't work. Cucurella is not sure. Caicedo, I think, will be a great signing. But, do you go for a manager and then try and bring the players that have worked so well in that team with him? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. I just want to get the conversation going, guys, to be honest, because I just don't see a way in a world where Mauricio Pochettino can be the Chelsea manager at the start of next season. I really don't see it whatsoever. So, yeah, Amorim is exciting. And I think we've got a real chance if we do go for him. Chelsea have been long-term admirers of this guy. He's young. It could be the second coming of a young Jose Mourinho. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more videos where we take a look at how Chelsea could line up with potential other managers. Or is it too soon? I don't know. I don't think so. See you in a bit.